to CIS 5317. This is a topics course on security. My name is Dr. H.Schuessler, and I am your professor this semester. Basically, I wanted to start out the semester by making a couple of videos and posting them right there on the center of the home page. The first is this one, designed really to introduce you to the Blackboard shell, and hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier for everybody to locate where things are and help them dive right into the Blackboard environment and be productive. If you've had me before, it should all look pretty familiar. You may want to go ahead and watch the rest of the video just in terms of seeing what has changed, but you should see a lot of similarities as well. If you haven't had me before, be sure and watch it, because I do a few things that are, a lot of things that I do that a lot of people do, but there's other things that I do that I think are probably a little bit quirky or different, and I'll kind of walk you through some of those things. So this is the very first video that I'm creating here that's going to be posted. The link will be posted right here on the left on the home page. And the second video I'll create is more of an introduction to myself and over the syllabus. I always like to know a little bit about who my professor was, and then I'll step you through the syllabus, something you might see normally in a face-to-face class. That's kind of what we'll cover there. In the middle of the homepage is my Twitter feed. If you want to follow me, feel free. You can certainly do that there. You don't have to. You can just log into Blackboard and see what I'm posting there. I usually try to find things that are relevant to my students, whether it be networking or security or e-commerce or social media. Anything I think might be interesting, I try to post that. At the bottom of the homepage is the contact information for technical assistance for Blackboard. So if you have a Blackboard related issue, give them a call. They're extremely good at what they do over there. So if you have a problem, contact them. A lot of times they can remote into your machine and take care of most issues. Most issues tend to be Java related or browser related. So before you give them a call, you might check, make sure you have the most recent Java update. And try using a different browser. That will solve most of your problems. And then the very bottom is the acceptable use policy. So keep in mind, Blackboard is a university system, and so use it for those purposes. The navigation bar here on the left is how you're going to make your way around the course. So if you want to get back to the home page here, you'll click on Home. If you want to access the syllabus, click on that. It'll open as a Google document, and that's posted right there. And so you'll be able to look at the syllabus. Something I did want to kind of draw your attention to is that you'll have rights to not edit the document, but to make comments on it. So if you see something that's confusing and you want to ask a question, simply highlight it and click on comment, leave a comment. Be sure and click the blue button here to formally leave that comment. And then that way it'll allow me an opportunity to try to clarify that for you, clarify it for the rest of the class, and clarify it for future semesters as well. This schedule is a separate document, but it's also a Google document. Everything's exactly the same. You have the opportunity to add comments and things like that for it, and we'll talk about both of those more in that second video. There's some lessons and lectures if you're interested. There's not a lot of course-specific lectures or lessons in there just yet, but there is some stuff that you might find interesting. There's APA formatting, a lesson on that. You probably won't find that quite as relevant for this course as you might for some other classes, but that is in there. There's instructions for how to register with Test Out. So if you have not had me for another class in which we use Test Out, there's instructions in there. And then probably most interesting of interest to most of you is this last one over Dreamspark. Microsoft makes a lot of software available to you as a student being in this class, so take advantage of that. Try some of those packages out. It's a great way to learn about some of those, and it's free, and so you're talking about thousands of dollars worth of software there. As far as the deliverables for this class, this is what most students are interested in, is what is it going to take to get through the class? What am I going to get graded on? And that's what the deliverables section over here is. So assessments are right here, and I'll spend a little bit more time on this because this is where some of the things that I do are perhaps a little bit different than some. I do a pretest and a post-test, and the pretest and post-test are each worth 5 points. In your gradebook, it's going to show that they're worth 12 points. So if you see 5 out of 12, you got all your points. It's just a case of if you do the assessment, regardless of your score, you're going to get 5. So if you see 5 out of 12, you got credit for it. It does that because I need to be able to keep track of how many you got right and how many you got wrong. But I don't want you to stress out, especially for the pretest, how well or how poorly you do. The idea behind this is it gives me an idea of your incoming knowledge of security knowledge, and I can compare that against your outgoing knowledge at the end of the semester. The pretest and post-test are identical except for the last questions on each. On the pretest, the last question is a link to a survey that will tell me about your learning style. On the post-test, it's a link to a survey it's an anonymous survey that tells me about what you think about this course. So the content, the tools that I've given you. So it's an assessment of online courses. This is separate of the university course assessment, and I'd encourage you to fill that out as well. But this one here is specifically for me. It's to help me improve this course and how it's structured and things like that. So I'm really looking for some meaningful feedback there, hopefully. Something else I do that's a little bit different, I password protect every assessment using the word test, all lowercase TEST. That's to prevent accidental start of one of the assessments. I don't reset quizzes, and we'll talk about that more in the syllabus video, but as to the reasons why. But so this is to help prevent you accidentally starting a quiz and not realizing it until it's too late. The quizzes are set to release your score immediately upon completion. However, it will not release which questions you got right and which questions you got wrong until after the due date and time has passed. Once that has occurred, they will be released. Sometimes students have trouble or have struggled with being able to find the correct and incorrect questions after that time period has passed. This is a short little video that a student of mine have put together that will help you to be able to find those quizzes again and be able to figure out what you got right and what you got wrong. Still, something else that I do is a little bit different. I have a quiz over the syllabus. This counts just like any other quiz, and so I'd encourage you to read through the syllabus, to have it open in a separate window, a separate tab, another monitor, something of that nature, so you can refer to it. But it's a separate quiz. It's a quiz in and of itself, counts just like any other quiz, so it should be an easy one. But it's just used. It's that way I can say, hey, you have read the syllabus, you've been quizzed over it, and hopefully you did really well over it. So I want you to note that all the quizzes are already open, so feel free to work ahead. I would not recommend working ahead too far, but I think it's a very good idea to work ahead a week or so, just so in case anything pops up, you need to make a trip, you have some sort of a technical issue, it gives you some built-in wiggle room by being able to do that. Similarly, all the homework is posted as well, so you can work ahead in the homework at the same time. Again, I wouldn't work too far ahead. You want to stay engaged in the class, you want to stay current. So if you're ahead a week or so, then you're probably in pretty good shape. The very first homework assignment is a little bit different than the rest, which is why it's homework 0. It's basically the task is to set up a Google folder and share that with me, make me the owner of it, to put a photo of yourself, a face shot, in that folder, share or copy the shared link for that photo, because you're going to need it when you fill out this form right here. And this form basically is just going to allow me to get some information about you, and it's always kind of, I tell you about me, it'd be kind of nice to know a little bit about my students. So actually that's not quite how that's going to look for you, but so the form's going to look like this. So you'll fill out the course number, your student ID, last name, etc. Tell me what other courses you've had, work experience that's relevant, things like that. That link to the photo, just pop the link right in there. And then I've got a couple of short little instruments that'll tell me how confident you are with technology, how confident you are with business concepts, and then basically check boxes that say I'm not going to cheat and all that kind of stuff. And just hit submit and I will get that information. Other than that, all the homework is in the test out environment, and we'll cover that a little bit more when we talk about this in the syllabus. And you can also review that in the lessons/lectures section. But the test out environment is basically a series of videos and demonstrations, but it's also they've got some little mini quizzes and some simulated scenarios that you need to complete to be able, in this case, address security related issues. And so it's really kind of more of a hands-on approach to being able to working through some of the scenarios that you'll be presented with. And so everything that you're going to do in test out is done in test out. Here in Blackboard, there's nothing really to submit for homework 1, for example. You simply go to homework 1, test out 1, the introduction section, same thing for test out 2, test out 3. I think these are pretty much in order. I tried to make them that way. So you'll just make sure you do the appropriate section, and then I will pop in your grade from test out here into Blackboard so you can see what your overall score is. I convert it to a 20-point scale. Each homework is worth 20 points. So that's how that works. Exams. Something else I'm doing that's a little bit different this semester. A lot of my classes I tend to have group projects and semester projects. In this class, rather than doing that, this test out environment I really like because it covers not only the Security Plus or Security Pro certification that you can come out of this class with, but it also does a good job of preparing you for the Security Plus certification, as well as the SSCP certification. So you don't get these other two, but you should be well prepared for them once you complete this class. So rather than doing a semester project, when we get down to the end of the semester, I end up having you take this practice exam 1 week for the Security Pro practice exam, and that's worth 100 points. The following week I have you take the practice exam, all the domains for the Security Plus, the following week for the SSCP. So you should be really well versed taking these exams and doing their simulated environments and things like that. So it's good not only in terms of preparing for the certifications, it's also good in terms of preparing for the final exam. The final exam will pop up, is actually in test out as well, and that's the actual certification for Security Pro. The midterm exam will pop up right down here, or actually it should pop up right up here. It will be in this exam section, and that pops up about halfway through the semester, and it's in Blackboard. So the midterm exam is in Blackboard, all the other exams and practice exams are in the test out environment. As far as communication, that's here on the left. We've got announcements. I try to send out an announcement once a week. Depending on grading, it's usually on Mondays. I try to complete grading and then post announcements on Mondays to remind everybody this is what's due this week, this is what's going on in class. And so I try to keep that connectivity with the class as best I can. As far as individual messages, you can send those out here. Simply click on course messages. You can browse through the class by clicking create message, and with a to CC, just like regular email, except that it's self-contained within this class. So all those are there. Supplemental material, if some people really like using PowerPoints and kind of use them as a study guide, there are those there. They're there for every chapter. We're not covering every chapter in the textbook, so be aware of that. So if you want to read through some of that other stuff on your own, certainly feel free to do so. If you want to keep track of your grades, you can do that there. Again, I really hate the Blackboard Gradebook. So when you go through here, my recommendation is to use the point breakdown in the syllabus. Take your grade that you're going to get on homework 1, for example, and put it in there. Homework 2, etc. And that way it keeps track of your grades and where you stand throughout the semester. And I think that's a much better way than the gradebook that's built into Blackboard. Social media. I've got a lot of different social media out there. If you're interested in following any of it, there's my personal website. that you can click on, and that'll bring up that content in there. This is the one specifically for networking. My Google Plus community, my YouTube channel, my Twitter feed, my LinkedIn account. So click on those and follow me if you want. You don't have to. It's strictly optional. Links to the textbook website. There's some content out there if you want to go through and look at what the authors have produced and put out there for you. It's another way to kind of gather some additional information if you would like. And then funny videos, because I think every course should have some funny videos. And these are related, all tech related in some way, shape, or form. Some of them are just about writing, for example, this one. But there's a lot of the other ones that they're based on security or networking, or in some way, shape, or form, they're computer related. Finally, there's the Blackboard Help button there. If you want to try to solve problems on your own or learn a little bit more about Blackboard, you certainly feel free to do that. But that is our Blackboard shell, and I think it's fairly intuitive. It has undergone some changes. It always does, because I'm always trying to answer questions ahead of time, and so I think it flows pretty well and is pretty self-explanatory. But if there is anything that's not clear, shoot me a message. I will try to address that as quickly as I can. And that is all I have for you. I will put together this next video, and they'll both be posted right here on the homepage. And other than that, that's all I've got for you. So take care.